Hey, how you guys doing? This is Neil from PerfectSunLED.com, and I got some bad news. But first, these are Compassion Lime. They're CBD. They're autoflower CBD strain, but Dutch Passion. So high CBD strain, Compassion Lime. Autoflowers mean they flower no matter what kind of light system you put them under. They're going to flower on their own genetically. Also have some lettuce here, and we'll get to the bad news here in just a second. It is April 5th. That means these are on day 35. Day 35. So the bad news is, and I'm just trying to think, like, how do I mention the bad news without making my wife look bad? I'm like, I guess I can blame it on myself. Look, everyone makes mistakes, okay? Let's start with that. Let's just start with everyone makes mistakes. And if you make a mistake like this, you shouldn't feel like an utter retard or feel bad. You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's just something you overlook. You don't think about stuff. So don't worry about it if you make a mistake like this. So first off, I should have recognized this earlier. Like, I should have figured this out earlier. I'm not sure why it took me so long to figure it out. The main things I started thinking about, I'm like, yeah, okay, they're smaller. That's fine. It could be the strain. But the thing is, like, this one here is like, because it's in a really small pot and it's like long and stretchy. But I'm like, still, there's not like a whole lot of leaves on it. I'm like, that's fine. That's pretty normal for a plant that grows in that style. But this one is a little bit more bushy, but it's still, there's not like a lot of leaves on it. And I'm like, that's kind of odd. Like, it shouldn't have more leaves. So that was the first thing in my mind. I'm like, okay, the height is fine. Like, our last grow, we had plants this high. It's about 2 feet tall. And that one right there is like 2.5 feet tall, right? It's actually pretty tall. And I'm like, 2.5 feet, 2 feet and 2.5 feet, that's normal. That's how our last plants were. And they were like 7 ounces. But I'm like, this isn't going to be 7 ounces, not anywhere close. I already knew that because it's in a small pot. It's in a number 2, which is less than 2 gallons. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, it's smaller than a 2-gallon bucket, that is, because it's 2 gallons of medium, which is different. It's 0.7 times 2 is how you get the exact amount of water it'll hold. And so I'm like, okay, something's not right there. Then I start looking at the bud development, right? You look at the bud development, and it just started. The buds just started developing. But I'm like, I don't know. They just seem a little bit weird to me, Hold on. How come this thing just seems blurry? Like, is it not focusing? Hold on a second. Let me try pause. All right, is that better? And so, why is this not? Let's go back to this camera here. Does everything just seem blurry? Hold on. I can see this really well, so let me see. There it goes. It's kind of focusing. Anyway, so I was like, these looked a little bit underdeveloped, As you can see there, a little bit underdeveloped to me. And I'm like, okay, I've been growing a long time, and especially autoflowers, and I know that the bud should be a little bit more developed than that right now, and it just should be more leaves. Anyway, I know I'm like belaboring the point. So I was like, what could be wrong with them? I've been thinking about this last couple days. So I'm like, hey, are you sure that have you fed them bloom yet? And she's like, oh, no, I'm going to do that today. I'm like, okay. I asked, like, we should have switched like 4 days ago to bloom. And it's not too big of a deal. Even if you wait this long to switch to bloom, it's not that big of a deal. You might start noticing a little bit of yellowing in some of the leaves because they're wanting potassium right now because they're going into flower. I don't recommend waiting this long to go to flower. You do want to wait until they start, until they finish stretching. But they finished stretching, a few days ago. So like at least 5 days ago. So they should have been switched over to bloom 5 days ago. Anyway, and so I'm just going through the different things. Like, what else could have been wrong? Are you sure it's on 18 hours of light? And she's like, yeah, I have it set from 8 to, let's go look at it. She's like, yeah, I have it set from 8 to 1, right? Which is what we usually do. It comes on 8 o'clock at night, turns off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And when I came in here, I saw this right here. Different analog timers are different, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, that looks right. But, and right now I have the outlet on, so I'm forcing the light on right now. If I put on timer mode, guess what happens? It looks like the light should be on, right? But guess what happens if I turn on timer mode? The light turns off. So the mistake here is it's completely backwards. So this one, it's on when the pins are down. I think that's usually how analog timers are. Turns on when those pins are down, turns off when the pins are up. So right now it's off from 8 o'clock at night till 1 in the morning. Then it turns on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and turns off 8 o'clock at night, which means the light has only been on for 7 hours a day. 7 hours a day, folks. But you know what? That's a testament to how badass the Goliath V2 really is. The Goliath V2 is a motherfucking monster of a light because one, I had it like, 2 feet away from these plants or higher most of their lives. I only recently brought it down to like a foot away, which is what you want to do toward flower anyway. You want to like work your way down to that. And then the other thing, I was like, I don't know the lettuce. I've never grown lettuce before, and I know lettuce finishes in like 60 days, whatever, from seed, something like that. But I don't know, I just like, they seemed underdeveloped to me. And it's because they are. Because they're growing under 7 hours of light a day. That's so horrible, right? I've grown autoflowers under 12 hours of light from beginning to end, and they're drastically smaller when you do that because they're starving for more light a day. I've grown them under 24 hours of light, and they don't do as good, honestly, under 24 as they do under 20 or 18. 18 seems to be the sweet spot. But I've never grown them under 7 hours of light a day. That's ridiculous. 7 hours a day. That means the light's coming on for only 7 hours and turning off. That means the light is off. It means it's dark in here for 18 hours, and then it's only light in here for 7 hours. Now, I don't know why I didn't figure this out earlier. My schedule's always like changing and stuff, and a lot of you guys know I'm sick and ill. And even though this is just a bedroom in my house, I only get in here once a day. If I'm lucky, right? So that's it. I'm able to get in here once a day, and check on the plants and stuff, and just kind of, make a quick video. And so what happened is, and it's right adjacent to the bathroom. So I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but I was on the way to the bathroom, and then I noticed the light wasn't on because I can see underneath the door, the crack of the door, I can see that the light's not on. And I'm like, well, that's weird. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. The light should be on. All right, sorry about that. My phone like geeked out or something. Anyway, so the light's supposed to come on at 8 o'clock at night and go off at 1 o'clock in the morning. So at 10 o'clock, so it's 10 o'clock in the morning right now, so the light should be on still, right? It should be on for 7 more hours, or at least a few more hours. Anyway, so that was like, I'm like, okay, let me go in there and check. And then sure enough, the light wasn't on in here, obviously, because I can see it under the door that it's not on. But another thing that's wrong about this, I don't know if you noticed that, but even if this was set correctly, like let's say when the pins are up, that's when the light's on. It's actually the pins are down, should be on. But then it would still be coming on at 8 o'clock in the morning, according to this thing. And right, but the thing is, it is set to be, the time is right. Like it's set for, well, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning right now. So it's an hour behind, which is fine because, our clocks changed, whatever, they went forward again. And this thing doesn't, account for that. So you have to change it manually. I usually don't do that. Anyway, so it's actually on the wrong time anyways. It's set to be coming on. If this was correct, it would be coming on at 8 in the morning, going off at, 1 in the morning, and that's not right. So anyway, it needs to be set the other way around. And that's not too big of a deal as long as you know that it was set, but right now it's set wrong anyway, it's the wrong time. Like if it was nighttime right now, then that'd be fine. Like I wouldn't really care that it's on the day side, whatever, as long as it's still doing the 18 hours of light on. So it's just all wrong. So anyway, so I need to change it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this completely the other way around, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to turn that and change it to the proper time. So it's on 18 hours. Now, the debate I'm having is this. See, I've grown under 12 hours of light before, right? Autoflowers. And one time I was growing them under 12 hours of light because I was finishing off a photo period because I was growing autos and photos at the same time. Once the photo finished, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch to 18 hours of light now to help these autoflowers really, really finish out. And they were just entering into flowering mode like these ones, right? What happened was they stressed out, right? So I went from 12 hours to 18 hours. They were used to 12 hours their entire life. I switched them to 18 hours on, and they flipped out. And not all of them, but a couple of them flipped out and started re-vegging. So I'm like, that's not good. Anyway, so it was kind of weird. So hopefully that's what I'm debating right now is, do I switch them slowly every day to get them used to 18 hours, or do I just, boom, flip them over to 18 hours of light and see what happens? Like, they might flip out because they're so used to what, 7 hours a day? That's all they're used to. But look at this, is not only is this a testament to autoflowers, but also to this light. I'm so amazed that they got this big under only 7 hours of light a day. And that's crazy, right? That's ridiculous. And I can't believe I didn't notice that. So if you ever make a mistake like this, don't be too hard on yourself. People make mistakes and that happens. So it's not that big of a deal. I just can't believe it took me so long to figure it out. Like, I guess it's because I wasn't really worried about it. I wasn't really trying to figure it out. I didn't really, it's like, whatever. Like, I had some thoughts in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, these strains aren't very good because, like that other strain there, well, they're both the same strain, but this one should be fatter. Like, it should just be more full of leaves, and it's not. It's kind of like, there's not very many leaves on that thing, And it's because it's been starving for light, it only has 7 hours of light. It's not starving for quality of light. Like, it's got more than enough light when the light's on. Cause look at, if I would have been grown under any other types of lights that aren't that powerful, right? If I was just grown under a mediocre light, and a light that's okay, that gives you pretty decent results when you're under 18 hours of light with an autoflower, and I put that thing to 7 hours a day, I would be like, these would be like nothing, They'd be like, what? So I'm actually surprised. I'm almost curious what would happen if I finished out with only 7 hours a day of light, because that's quite crazy. Like I said, I've grown autoflowers under 12 hours of light from beginning to end, and they actually came out pretty decent. I got a pretty decent yield off each one. It was like 3 ounces or so, and they got about this big, and the buds got pretty decent size and everything. But that's 12 hours of light, right? This is 7 hours of light a day. So anyway, I think I'm just going to flip it over to 18 and see what happens. If they stress out, whatever, then whatever, I guess you start over. Or maybe, I don't know, let them, I don't know. I don't know if an auto like gets too stressed out and re-veges and then starts flying, it might actually make them, produce male parts. You don't want to stress any plant out too much because it can make them hermaphrodite, and then they'll pollinate themselves, and I'll have pollen in here and seeds. I don't want that. So, I guess I could just seed one time, but I don't know. I don't want to take the chances. Pollen can get everywhere. And then, you don't know when it's gone and stuff. And I don't want it to like repollinate other plants if I grow them in here. So I think if they totally stress out and freak out, and start doing some weird stuff like re-vegging or something, if I go to 18.6 and it freaks them out too much, I think I might just chop them down and start over, because I don't want to take the chances. But anyway, another thing I was thinking about, I've never grown lettuce before, but I'm pretty sure lettuce should be bigger than this by now. And I'm actually surprised. I'm very surprised the lettuce has grown as much as it did with only 7 hours of light. So if for whatever reason you can only, you really need to save on your electricity bill, and you can only run your lights for 7 hours a day, you could technically grow lettuce. I think it would continue to grow. It might take a little bit longer. It might grow smaller. Like I said, lettuce doesn't finish until like 60 days, I think, anyway. So anyway, that's that. Let's go and switch that timer to the correct way it should be, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so here's how it should look. That's how it should be. So now you can see, hold on. Why is this phone having a hard time doing what it's supposed to do, is autofocus. All right, so now it's on at 8 o'clock at night. You see that, the nighttime side, the dark side. And it's turning off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Right, so when the pins are up, that means the light's off. So right now I had on timer on now up the top there, and it's on right now because those pins are down. Well, I have it at 10 in the morning. That's what time it is right now. So it's 10 in the morning. The pins are down, which means it's on. And 3 more hours, you can see once it reaches 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the pins will be up, which means the light will go off, and it'll be off from 1 till 8, which will be 7 hours, and it'll turn back on at 8 o'clock at night. So that's how it should have been this entire time. And it hasn't been. So anyway, that was the bad news. The bad news is that these all these plants have only been on 7 hours of light a day. And it could have been why the pepper plants are stressed out. And I hope it didn't stress out the lettuce too much. The lettuce seems pretty okay with it, I guess. Maybe because lettuce is used to growing like in wintertime and stuff. You can grow winter lettuce. So there's a lot less light. But there's not 7 hours of light. That's like really, really low. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so the pepper plants, I think they didn't like it at all. So because they haven't been growing at all. So I'll probably have to start peppers over again. Kind of a bummer. I really hope that the autoflowers don't stress out from this. I hope they recover. I mean, I almost wanted to start over anyway, just to show what these. But either way, just know that. But see, if people don't watch this particular video within this grow, they're not going to know why this plant, didn't come to its full potential. But I think it can still do something pretty nicely. Unfortunately, because it's already finished stretching everything, it probably won't grow any more than this, but it can help these buds get big. I mean, I imagine with only 7 hours of light a day, the buds wouldn't get very big. So now it has that potential to still get big buds. But anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think I should do? Should I go ahead and finish these out? And because, I've already grown, I've already wasted 35 days. Or should I just start over, completely over? Because I need to start new peppers anyways. So should I just start new CBD, the same strain? I think I have more of these seeds, so I'm pretty sure I do. So I just start over from scratch or you know what I probably could do, since these are so small and the peppers I got to start the peppers over anyways, and the lettuces aren't going to take up much room. I wonder if I should start, that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start at least 1 or 2 more CBD plants here. Probably if I do only 1, it'll be in a bigger pot. I'll be putting in a bigger pot like that one there. If I end up doing 2, they'll be in the same size pot as these ones are. And then by the time these ones are finished, those ones will be, nice and big and bushy. But that means that, but these will have to be off in a corner at that time then, because they're the ones that will be taking quite a bit of room. I might just do 1 then. Yeah, I think I'll just do 1. So, and I'll put it I'll either put it in the same size pot as that one is, at number 2, or maybe if I have a number 3 laying around somewhere, I'll do a number 3, or maybe I'll put it in number 5. We'll see. Either way, I think I'm just going to do 1, because I have a feeling that, look, if it got that big, that's like 2 feet right there. That one's 2.5 feet, right? Might even be bigger than 2 feet, actually. I have to measure it exactly, but it's pretty tall. I can't believe that it actually got that tall for being such, a low amount of light. And if it can do that with only 7 hours of light a day, this is day 35, mind you. It's been under 7 hours of light a day for 35 days. So if it can do that with only 7 hours a day, imagine what it could do with 18 hours a day. So I think it can get pretty big and bushy. It's probably about a 2, but it seems like it's naturally a shorter strain. So it probably can be naturally it's probably gonna be like a 2.5 foot strain, maybe 3 foot strain. But it looks like it has potential to get pretty bushy. So remember, these have to have no training. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that, I think. All right, cool. Start some more peppers, some more pepper seeds, and then another CBD seed. I wonder if I should start lettuce over again too, but like at least 1 lettuce, I'm not too worried about that. I think these will be fine. I think they'll finish out. Right now they got more light. They're like, oh, light. They should really start developing and doing their thing for the last part of their lives. But yeah, okay, that's it, guys. People make mistakes, so yeah. I don't know how I didn't catch that mistake though. Like, I don't know, it just blows my mind that I didn't catch it earlier. I just had this feeling from the very beginning of this grow, because I remember asking her a lot when she was setting up the timer. I walked her through it, and I'm like, all right, you have it set right and everything, you have the pins, on for 18 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, can you test it? Like, can you turn it around to make sure the light's turning off and on when it should? And I guess she must not have done that right or something, because she should have noticed that as you turned it, you know, it was only on during that small section, not the big section. Like that should have been like a big thing. Like, hey, how come? Because what I meant is like, take it and turn it around, you know, like that, and then watch the light turn on, and then keep turning it until it turns back off. Then you can see. That's how you learn whether the pins are up or down, whether the light's off or on. Anyway, whatever. Mistakes are made. It happened. So, all right, guys. I think my phone's going to be dying here in any second. So, thanks for watching. Double peace. Until next time.